boxing.
On it, on edge.
Okay, welcome back to Boxing on the Edge. This coming Saturday, we have Terence "Bud" Crawford versus Shawn "Showtime" Porter. I got the date right for this one because my previous video, I got the date wrong. So, my apologies for that. This coming Saturday in Las Vegas for the WBO World Welterweight title. That's Terence Crawford's belt. Fantastic fight. High energy, high octane, violent fight coming up, I believe. A lot at stake, a lot on the line, really, if you think about it. Obviously, Crawford's belt, but his position in boxing right now, where he's got finally a big fight where he can really prove to the world exactly who he is. I mean, we boxing fans know who he is. He just hasn't been given the opportunity to fight some of the best. Porter's certainly not one of those, but he's not far off it. So, good opportunity for Crawford. In terms of Porter, he represents the PBC. He represents those guys and that foundation. They're having a little bit of a hard time right now. They've had Plant just lost his belt. Wilder just lost also. Ruiz, I know he's on the comeback, but you know his stock has gone down. Pacquiao's retired. Spence is questionable at the moment, so there's a lot going on with regards to the winner and where does the winner go and whatnot. So very interesting fight, very exciting fight. A couple of weeks ago I was a bit more excited about it. I'm still excited, don't get me wrong, but I thought it'd be a bit, you know, I've been watching a lot of film and I just don't see it being as competitive as it probably you might think. You know, I do think Crawford is going to, I wouldn't say dominate, but comfortably win, because I don't see how Shawn Porter is going to beat him. But I'll get onto the tactics and the fight plan in a little bit. But we'll start with Shawn Porter. Tremendous asset to boxing. Comes prepared. Does more than he needs to in training camps. He's just been recently, I've seen pictures of him in high altitude, doing the pads with his dad in that military type fashion. He's been doing hot yoga for a long time now. You know, he always comes in shape and he always comes ready and willing to win. And what I mean by that, for any new boxing fans or any new fans to the channel, welcome along. I try to explain some things maybe, or going forward in a bit more detail. Like, you know, when you watch boxing, there's a lot of fighters that don't actually come to win. They're there and they're you know, very brave for getting in the ring, but you know, when it comes to actually really trying to win in terms of putting yourself in a position to get hurt, to hurt your opponent, both these guys do that. And you know, Shawn Porter certainly does that, and you love to see that. And so that's one of the reasons what makes this fight so exciting, because they're both dogs, you know, and they will go in there and gut it out and be prepared to put everything on the line, including their consciousness, or not being knocked unconscious is what I mean. So, or being knocked unconscious, they're willing to go there, pardon me. But okay, so that's Shawn Porter. Moving on to Terence Crawford. I mean, this guy is just once in a generation fighter. He's absolutely unbelievable. We all know that. His ability to adjust mid-fight is second to none. His preparations are great, as we know. His power is very good. He actually reminds me, you know those wizards that play the Rubik's Cube and they figure it out in like 4 seconds flat? Geniuses. That's like Crawford when it comes to deciphering his opponent, when it comes in regards to in-fight tactics or in-fight adjustments. Crawford is by far the best at that, in my opinion. You know, he just kind of, he'll download the information straight away from his opponent and he'll Rubik's Cube them and do what he has to do to win the fight. He always does it, and he's always won so far, and he's a sensational fighter. And that's what makes me think that this fight won't be particularly close. I think it will be one of those like competitive yet one-sided fights. I just don't see what Shawn Porter can do to win this fight, because Crawford has him essentially covered in most of the categories. You're talking power, IQ, hand speed's up for debate, but you know, Shawn Porter's got quite fast feet. They're clumsy feet, because he gets them tangled, and he often comes charging in with his head down, his arms in the air, and his feet move from orthodox to southpaw and back. But they are quite fast. But Crawford's are tidier, and they're probably just as fast. And you know, his where he, like when you talk about speed is the physicality of it, or the physical aspect of moving your hands. But quickness is up here in his mind, and that is by far Crawford is the quicker fighter. So that is going to come into effect in this fight. So yeah, with regards to tactics of this fight, now a couple of weeks ago, I was, you know, I've been like I said, been watching a lot of film, and there was a fight. I think it was against the Ugas fight or the Spence fight, maybe. Porter's dad in the corner was like, "Son, you need to throw straighter punches."
Going in this round, I wanted straighter punches.
Okay, because Porter has this tendency to throw a lot of wide shots, and after he got those instructions, he didn't do that. Okay, so, and I was thinking to myself, can he even do that? Can he throw straight punches? Because he's got this wide back, his arms are kind of lent out to the side here because of his muscles, probably. So it forces the wider punches anyway. So I was like, I don't even know if he can. A couple days ago, I saw this training clip surface of them shooting straight shots, and he could do it, and it surprised me. And that obviously is probably part of the game plan, because I do think Crawford will go southpaw pretty immediately. That's my thought anyway. He obviously can do both. He can switch hit, but I think he'll go southpaw, and I'll explain in a minute. But Porter, he's got to keep his punches straighter, and he has to really try to maul Crawford. He's not gonna be able to outbox him at all. He's obviously his main goal is to bully him and do what he normally does, but more of it, because that's his best opportunity. Obviously, he has to do it more educated and not fall in as much, and maybe do it with straighter punches like I mentioned, but that's really his best opportunity from my point of view. I think he's going to find it very difficult on the outside, and even on the inside, because Crawford is so smart and he'll see it coming and step back and shoot off a couple of shots. So moving on to Crawford, what he is excellent at, and what he's done in the past against previous opponents, is to take a little step back, uppercut, left, right hook, or uppercut, left hook, depending on which stance he's in. Now, I think the reason why I mentioned he'll go to southpaw straight away is if you look at the Spence fight, and a lot of where the positions are that Porter comes in against the southpaw, the left uppercut is right there. You know, left uppercut, right hook. If he steps back, he can time Porter with his feet, step back. He can use the left hand if he wants to, but I think the left uppercut will be straight there, because Porter moves his head. He comes falling in, he throws these big wide looping shots, his feet end up in front of each other, and he puts himself in a position to get uppercutted, for want of a better word. So that punch is absolutely there. If he decides to stay on the outside, which he might do for a little bit based on the training I've seen, then Crawford will probably switch to southpaw, because Porter's been practicing this southpaw killer, which, if you don't know what that is what an orthodox fighter uses against the southpaw. It's a straight right hand, okay? But you got to keep it straight. It has to be straight. It doesn't have to be, but it's better straighter. It will get there quicker, and it's sharper and more crisper. And you can use it almost like a jab, fast, hard jab. But if he does do that and he's having success, Crawford will just switch. He's that good, he'll just switch to orthodox. So that could happen. But in terms of Crawford, I can see him stepping back and letting off 2 shots, even if he switches to orthodox, he can still do that based on how Porter fights. So very intriguing. I think Crawford, like I said, will dominate's a strong word, but I think he will take control and win most of the rounds. A lot of people are saying that Porter's going to possibly get stopped. The more I think about it, the more I may agree, but I'm on like 60-40 right now. So I do think it will go to the cards. Porter's been, punched by some top welterweights, bang on the chin, and he's been hurt, but not dramatically hurt, and he's recovered very quickly because of his ability, his conditioning, and he can take a punch, but his recovery powers are because he keeps himself in such great shape and he treats his body well, and he's always in the gym and he does extra, so that will help him. I think he's going to get hurt at some point, or certainly maybe dropped. I don't know. He's definitely going to feel Crawford's power, and it should be a unanimous decision for Terence Crawford, and he should be making a statement in this fight, and I think he will, and I think he's ready to do that, and I'm excited for the fight Saturday, not Friday. So let me know what you think in the comments section. If you like this fight, what you like about it, who do you think is going to win and why? And enjoy the fight on Saturday, okay? That's enough from me, Boxing on the Edge. Have a great week.
on the edge.